Good morning, good afternoon in the US, good evening in Europe. Here we are for the first ever PRADA Cup. Sailing crews, media, spectators all over the world, we all have been waiting for this day with expectation and joy. And this is also a very special day because Patrizio Bertelli, the CEO of the group, of the PRADA Group, is connected with us from Toscana. And he cannot be here because of the world pandemic consequences, but he will answer a question from the room here from Zoom, via Zoom. So Luna Rossa have been one of the key actors of the America's Cup over the last 20 years. We all remember the winning sheet fight between Luna Rossa and America One. Patrizio has a true passion for the Cup. He is one of the rare European members of the America's Cup Hall of Fame. And he loves everything which floats with sails. So Patrizio, thank you for being with us today. This is the first PRADA Cup. Your love affair started here in Auckland 20 years ago. You must be proud and excited to have again a team here today. Patrizio. So I think you have to start again, Patrizio. An issue with the sound. We gather here, so we have a plan B, which is for Francesco Langani to translate.
Ok,
scusate. No, it works now. It works now. Sorry.
Sì, siamo soddisfatti. Bruno ha chiesto se noi...
Yeah, hello everyone. First of all, while Bruno, you were asking whether we are happy to be in Auckland, of course we are absolutely excited. Unfortunately, we are in this difficult condition and situation globally, the coronavirus. This is certainly very sad for us. However, we're very happy for those of us and you who are in Auckland. You're free to walk around. You don't even have to wear a mask. Whereas both here in Europe and in the United States, the situation is quite different. So if you're in Auckland, you're very lucky.
So PRADA is everywhere here, according to your wishes, race organizer, competitor, naming rights sponsor, challenger of record. What convinced you to play such a big role this year?
Allora, prima di tutto siamo stati trascinati anche da Denora e da altri.
You know, first of all, we were kind of drawn in by Denora and other people who actually asked us to become involved to begin with. And then to tell you the truth, this was a pretty difficult decision to begin with, because of course we all realized that the situation is quite challenging. But why did we decide to do this? This is a question we always ask ourselves. So the reason is that myself and some of the people working with me, we thought that the America's Cup was actually going a strange way, down a strange road, so to speak, and Grant Dalton agreed with us on that. So apparently the America's Cup seemed to have owners at a certain moment of time. I don't really think that the America's Cup should have owners. It should have winners, it should have defenders and challengers, but the America's Cup should remain what it's always been. It's a very sophisticated event. It's got very special boats, but it's first and foremost a sporting event. So I think that by becoming involved in this cup, we gave the America's Cup its identity back. We call it the PRADA Cup today. It was the Vuitton Cup in the past. It may be named in a different way in the future, but what really matters is we still have one defender and several challengers. That's the spirit. It shouldn't become like a Formula One circuit. That's unacceptable. That's not what we want, and that's not what we like. So thanks to the decisions we've made, and thanks to the support and help of the technicians and engineers of Luna Rossa and Team New Zealand, we were able to come up with this new boat, which is fantastic. I think it looks great, but most importantly, it's fantastic to sail and to take out at sea. And certainly it's going to start a new era in sailing.
Thank you. Your Prada Pirelli Luna Rossa appears to be a good boat. You worked a lot to make your crew more competitive with various specific programs. Are you proud of your team and confident on the eve of the battle?
Allora, un'altra osservazione che si potrebbe fare che sono troppo pochi i team.
Something else we could say is that we have too few teams challenging for the America's Cup. And I have to say, first and foremost, that this formula for this boat was so complex to begin with that it was absolutely not unexpected to see that a limited number of teams had the possibility to put up the right team of people to work out a project. So this is a startup, and then if we keep having the same kind of boat, which I hope will happen, more teams will become involved in the America's Cup in the future. And I think this adventure for these three teams, well, I see them all on the same level because all three teams have the best possible group of designers in all specialties of design that have become involved in this project. And also the helmsmen. I mean, the helmsmen we have here are the top guys in the world for match racing and for all sorts of other races.
Quindi per me le barche solo da...
So to me, these boats, well, we'll see the differences starting on Friday. And what is really important, I think that these boats are going to have different performances under different wind conditions. So some may be very effective in some conditions and some others might be more effective in other conditions. So we'll have to see in all sorts of wind and weather conditions, we may encounter a lot of surprises during.
Thank you. Are you planning to come here for the final match if and when Luna Rossa wins the PRADA Cup?
Ma non faccio nessuno scongiuro, vediamo. Quindi lascio tutto aperto.
Well, I'm not really taking any stance right now. It's an open question. We'll see.
Thank you very much. We take some questions from the audience now. First question, yes.
Mr. Bertelli, buonasera. Michael Burgess, New Zealand Herald. I just wanted to ask, what did you think of the comments recently from the New York Yacht Club about the class of boats and the fact that they'd like to go back to a more traditional class if they would win this regatta?
Una libertà di pensiero, intanto dobbiamo vincere la Coppa America.
Well, we're all free to think whatever we want. First, they need to win the America's Cup, and then they're free to make any decision they like. I mean, it's always been like this. I mean, people may think it in a different way and see it differently. Personally, I always remember something that Grant Dalton said when we were thinking about flying boats and foiling boats. And I do remember that Grant Dalton said, I think the America's Cup has always been about new boats, and we need to design something that will really mark a difference in sailing. And I think Mr. Dalton was right. This is going to be a totally new boat for sailing.
Neil, Todd, Neil, here.
Hi, Todd Nile from Stuff. Mr. Bertelli, Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada have a long, amicable relationship, and yet it seems now to be a lot of animosity. Why is that?
Per fortuna che c'è molta animosità, perché siamo
Well, fortunately, we have a lot of animosity. We are opponents, and I think it's fair. It's right. It's totally in line with the history of the America's Cup. So I don't really think competition means disregarding your opponents, though.
Thank you, Todd. Another question? Peter Mongory? Peter?
Patricio,
Wait for the mic.
is this the first America's Cup you have missed since 2000 in Francisco de Angelis? If so, how frustrating is it you are not here?
È molto frustrante, però tutti sapete esattamente.
It is absolutely frustrating not to be there, of course, but you're aware of what's going on in the world. By the way, I would like to urge you all to think about something which I believe is fundamental. I mean, we're all aware of what's going on globally with the pandemics. We know how serious this is, especially in Europe and in America. And I would like to launch an appeal. I would very much like this America's Cup to be a really sports event, a very sporting event, really. I would like that instead of talking about all sorts of silly things, we focused on competition, on sportsmanship. I would like the PRADA Cup to really be a major sporting event.
Thank you. One last question for the floor. Yes. Richard Gladwell.
Richard Gladwell from Sarworld. Mr. Bertelli, if you were back in as the challenger of record, would you support easing the constructed and country provisions so that we could have the boats that we've seen sailing here sailed in the next Cup, or new entrants into the Cup can, you know, get the boats built in another country in a convenient facility to get more people in? Thank you.
Io trovo che se noi fossimo chiamati a decidere se quelli saranno...
Well, I think if it were our call, if we were to make this decision, we would very much like to continue with this boat. We do believe this is the boat for the future. It's going to develop again in the future. And in maybe 10 years' time, we'll have a bigger fleet of boats of this kind. Certainly as far as race boats go, but also some cruise boats will take ideas from this design too.
Thank you. We now switch to Zoom. First question from Zoom. Antonio.
Hello. First question to Zoom is Jack Griffin, Cup Experience. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Bertelli. I'm glad to have a chance to talk to you. In your first 2000, there's a book where Peter Blake wrote the preface, and he wrote, "The only way to win is to continuously participate, continuously return time and time again with the conviction that you can do it. The game is uncertain, the victory is never guaranteed. You need extraordinary people with ferocious motivation, lots of experience and attention to details, and unconditional dedication." If you could have Peter Blake say a few words to the Luna Rossa team for this event, what might you expect he would say to them?
Io penso che Peter Blake apprezzerebbe il fatto della costanza, però io faccio un'altra osservazione.
Well, I think that Sir Peter Blake would certainly appreciate our constance, but the question is always the same. What did we learn from doing the America's Cup ourselves and others? What did we learn from a certain sense of responsibility in our participation in the America's Cup? Well, I think that at least internationally, Luna Rossa has really created a whole school, a whole style of Italian sailors. So the whole project started with the Moro di Venezia, but we actually took it to the next level. So much so that in the 1990s, Italian sailors were considered a kind of a lower level sailors, whereas today Italian sailors are considered to be the best in the world, amongst the best in the world. So we actually created a school, and also we created an industry, a whole business in a way. So suffice it to think of manufacturers like Fraschini or Cariboni. Without Cariboni, many boats would not be what they are today. I mean, many boats need people like Persico, for instance, the boatyards and so on. So we shouldn't only look at the victory as our objective. The English are right. I mean, for 160 years, they never won the America's Cup. They just lost it once and never won it back. And they tried over and over again. So, participating in the America's Cup, for me, it doesn't just mean looking for victory or hunting for victory, but as far as Luna Rossa is concerned, it's always been very useful in order to train people, to educate people in the world of sailing, including those people that do not actually race the boat themselves, but designers and so on and so forth. So internationally, there's been a whole new generation that's grown up with us. It's a really complicated exercise to put together an America's Cup team. You have like 3 years, a very definite target, 100 people. It's a very articulated, very complex project. And I believe it is absolutely very interesting and very useful, also in terms of business management. So it's a big team of people you manage for a very specific objective, for a very specific goal. So the America's Cup is a great school.
Thank you. A couple more questions via Zoom?
Yes, we have a question from Gaia Piccardi, il Corriere della Sera.
Patrizio, buonasera. Good morning, everybody. Volevo chiederti, Max Sirena dice che questa Coppa la vince chi oserà di più. Vorrei chiederti se la novità a suo modo rivoluzionaria del doppio timoniere che avete solo voi rientra in quest'ottica di osare, se quest'ottica ti piace e che cosa pensi che Luna Rossa abbia di più rispetto agli altri due challenger, American Magic e INEOS
team. Thank you. Well, what we have more than the others, well, we'll see that starting next Friday. And we all have to remember we were not able to race in Cagliari and in the UK. The preliminary races could have been really useful 6 months ago. So we're all like beginners, actually. And so we'll really have to race each other and see how all teams have been able to come up with the best possible boat. As to the double helmsman, this is a strategic decision that the team has made. I've always supported it and agreed with this choice. And so we'll see whether it's an advantage or not. We do think it is an advantage, but also, of course, we'll see when we start racing. I would like to remind all of you one thing, though. So why do I think that these boats are just fantastic? Well, also because, amongst other things, we're back to racing, starting with an upwind leg. So do you realize? I mean, we have like 3 minutes of circling in pre-start, and then immediately, as soon as we start, we do come at the first crossing immediately and see how we're performing to begin with, upwind. So it's match racing again. We've seen the first signs of that already. So of course, if the boat speeds are very different from each other, we'll only see partial, let's say, match race. But having seen the early practice races, I think that all boats have improved quite remarkably in this period in January. And so I think that boat speeds are going to be much more similar between the different teams, and also the handling skills of individual teams. So I expect lovely races.
Thank you. One more question via Zoom.
Yes, we have another question from Italy. Fabio Pozzo, La Stampa. Go, Fabio.
Buonasera, Bertelli. Hello to everybody. Patrizio, all'inizio non era tanto convinto su queste barche. Perché adesso
you didn't seem to be that persuaded about these boats. What made you change your mind? Why are you persuaded today? And the answer is, well, because it's a good idea. It's good to change your mind from time to time in life, you know? No, you know, at the beginning, I was a bit doubtful about a couple of things in terms of these foiling arms. That was what was a bit perplexing at the beginning, the way the foiling arms moved and so on. But that was just at the beginning. Then as soon as we launched the first boats and saw them, we realized it was a very good idea.
Thank you, Patrizio. Would you like to say a few words to us and to the three skippers here on stage?
I skipper sono amici miei, gli auguro di divertirsi anche per noi.
Well, the three skippers are friends, so have fun.
Doesn't work. We lost? Finito?
Well, I expect a great show. So the three skippers are my friends. Have fun for all of us who cannot be there, and give us some great show.
Thank you, Patrizio. We wish you were here with us. Thank you very much.
Grazie, grazie a tutti. Grazie a tutti.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
So now the second part of this press conference, we ask to ask a few questions to Ian. Ian, you are a talented skipper. You sailed in the America's Cup decades ago. We sail against each other. Today we manage new boats, new courses. Are you pleased with what you have seen so far?
Yeah, look, as you say, everything is new. The boats are new. We see, exciting young crews and exciting boats. And over the last couple of days, we've seen them come together, I think, with sort of going away from pre-Christmas and come back with thoughts and strategies and tactics. And I'm starting to see the sort of match racing of old and the aggression of the start come to the surface. I think there's a lot of equality between the boats in terms of speed, and certainly the fundamentals of match racing look like they're going to be on the table come tomorrow. So I think that's, it's exciting. It's what brought us to this sport. Bruno and I back to this sport 40 years ago nearly, except it's all going about 10 times faster than it used to. So, it's leading our sport, which is great to see as well.
There were some issues with the spectator fleet during the December regatta. Did you find a way to control that in case of a big wind shift?
Yeah, a lot of work's gone on with that, particularly in the communications to the public. There's new things like the perimeter application, which is available on the America's Cup website. So by downloading that and clicking on, it will show you where you are on the race course, and that's up and available now. So we've just been trialling that over the last couple of days, but also the Channel 4, which is an information channel for the public that are out there. So I think there's a lot of understanding about what we need to do and how we need to do it, both from within our own group and from within the supporting government groups around here. And of course the public have always been, just tell us what you want us to do and we will participate. So hopefully, the procedures and plans that have been put in place will help that. And I'm sure as we go on, we're going to have a great regatta. It was really the fickle winds that caused the problem on that day. And I think we have a better understanding of the race courses and what these boats can do, how fast they are, how many laps it takes to do the 25-minute target race time. Our understanding is a lot greater now than it was a few weeks ago.
We expect the racing to be much closer than we thought. You certainly agree with that after what you saw on the water, no?
Yeah, the racing, the practice starts and bits and pieces I've seen over the last few days, shows every indication that, the three boats are competitive, and great emphasis is placed on the start and getting out of the blocks fast, and that's what match racing is all about. It's get into the lead and defend your position. So I can see that happening.
What about the weather in the next 3 days? Can you give us an indication?
The weather looks like a very nice day, 12 to 15 knots from the southwest, so that would be down off North Head. It's ideally placed for that southwesterly breeze. Saturday looks a little bit trickier. It's going to be southwest going quiet and then probably coming back from the west, maybe a little bit north of the west, so that's going to be a little bit more challenging for us. And then the Sunday looks to be a northerly breeze, but we expect, the forecasts are we might have to wait a little bit on Saturday, but the indications are that we're going to have, good sailing breeze on all 3 days.
Thank you very much, Ian. Question to Max. You said in the Herald a week ago that it would be almost impossible to beat Emirates Team New Zealand. Do you really mean it, or did you say that to please the locals?
I really believe it's going to be hard to beat them. They show they have a fast boat, they have a good crew. I guess in the next 3 weeks it's going to be just the three of us. I don't know, maybe something else will come out. But for sure they're smart. It's a strong team. They are the defenders, so they're going to wait one of us in a month's time. And yeah, they're going to be hard to beat. But I think everyone, the three of us, one of us, which is going to come out from this PRADA Cup, is going to be pretty strong. And as Patrizio said, I think the performance of the boat are changing quite a lot according to the wind range we are sailing. So let's do one step by step. Let's think about the PRADA Cup, and then we'll see.
Are you pleased with the new fairing on deck? Does it affect the organization on board?
Well, as we all said, the development of this boat, they're going to keep going in the next few months. There will be some new stuff coming on. I'm sure the other two teams, they will do the same. And aerodynamic is everything when you go close to 50 knots. So we will improve more and more. And for sure, yes. Luckily, which is strange, but luckily every change, every mods we did are actually being good so far, which wasn't that straightforward in the past campaign. So we're pleased with that. And I'll thank the designer and the short team to make those changes so quickly.
Thank you, Max. Terry, you were the only challenger to beat the defender once in December, and you were leading the other race against them. You must be confident on the eve of the PRADA Cup.
Well, I mean, I think the Christmas Cup is in the past, and so we're looking forward to the future. And those races were good races, but I think as all three teams sitting here have all made steps beyond that, and what we saw out of the defender the other day is they've made steps beyond where they were. So our focus really is on the next month of racing and see where the chips fall. So from our perspective, yeah, I mean, you go out to race with expectations, and it was good to see that we had the performance on the day, and at the same time, it was also good to see that we had room for improvement.
We know you are learning every day, but what are the areas you need to improve or you want to improve?
Well, you'd never turn away more boat speed upwind. And so I think as a team, collectively, we're looking towards improving, boat speed all the way around the race course, boat speed out of the maneuvering. You really look at all aspects of the game to get faster against the competition around the race course. And yet, as we've seen, last week, everybody's gotten faster. And so, it's kind of a circular discussion because we're all pushing to get faster at every single moment of the race. And, I think that's where our area of focus has been.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry. I have one question to Sir Ben. In December, when I was praising you for coming every day to the press conference, your answer was amazing. As long as we lose, I will come every night. So, well, then I hope not to see you much in the next few days.
Yeah.
What do you think?
As I'm still here. Yeah, well, look, that's right. I mean, our team's justifiably taken quite a lot of flack for our performance, and it's kind of my job to try and help protect them from that. But yeah, I mean, as much as I've enjoyed our building a relationship, and with all due respect, Bruno, I'd much prefer not to see much more of you.
Did you improve your flight in light air?
Yeah, I think we've improved a lot from where we were in the lighter airs. Have we improved enough? I think time will tell in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Question from the audience, please. Yes, Todd, Neil. Sorry, the mic was on the other side. Thank you, Todd.
Hi, Todd Niles, Stuff. A question for Max. Max, are you committed right through to the end with the dual helmsman, or is it still a work in progress that you will decide at some point whether it continues?
Well, tomorrow we're going to start at the PRADA Cup, so I guess we are committed until the end. And it's no change you can do from one day to the other. I think every team has spent an hour in the water to find the best playbook to handle this boat, and we are pretty happy with that, and we're going to push even further in the next few weeks.
Next, yes, lady.
So Ben, Abby Wilson from One News. You guys obviously have made improvements from what we can sort of see, but if you could have a wish list of what conditions you would like for the weekend to, I guess, maximise the improvements that you've made, what would that wish list be?
I think we'd love to race in the stronger breezes. That's probably no secret. Everyone can see that, and our competitors can see that. The trick is we can't control the weather, of course, and as Ian said, I think we're seeing maybe some medium breeze for Friday and a bit lighter for Saturday and Sunday. So we're going to see just how much we've been able to improve that performance in the lighter airs over the weekend. And, you know, there's more to come on that. We need to obviously be able to be competitive across the wind range, and that's our goal, our target.
Just one more, just so you haven't actually sort of written off the light winds, you have actually tried to improve across the board?
Never write anything off. We have to, yeah. I mean, like I said, we can't control the weather, so we've got to get ourselves competitive in those lighter airs. We've definitely made some big jumps, but I think there's a bit more to come in that area.
Question. PRADA News Talk, ZB Sport. Question for Max. Max, you succeeded in not really using the running backstay in the pre-Christmas regatta, but I understand, which obviously reduces the drag, and I understand you have to use them. So what sort of penalty are you going to pay by using a running backstay in this regatta?
Well, first of all, I don't know if I have to or not, because there is still an interpretation on the table. Well, we're ready for everything. I mean, you cannot count your performance on just one thing. For sure, there is someone else which has a different opinion on us on the rule. There is someone which is changing class rule almost every time they want. We will face, once we have an answer from this interpretation, we will decide. We are ready for everything. In the last 2 practice days, we sail and race with the backstay on, and we perform well. So I'm not really worried about that. We need to be strong in any condition and whatever they're going to ask us to race with.
But if you don't have to use it, does it give you a major advantage given all the other teams are using it?
Well, obviously it's drag, you know. These boats are sailing fast in the wind, and wherever you can take it off from the air is you don't need an engineer to tell you that. Even my son knows that. If you reduce the drag, you're going faster in the air.
Couple more questions, yes, sir.
Duncan Johnson from Stuff. Terry, having been around these boats now for 3 or 4 years, I'm just wondering, are you on the same page as your Commodore in terms of where things might go if you're successful in winning the America's Cup?
Yeah, I'd probably say I think Mr. Bertelli's right. First, you got to get to that spot, and secondly, as a team, you know, we're pretty far removed at this juncture from those conversations. You know, Commodore Culver and Commodore Lutz and the trustees of the New York Yacht Club have a vision. And obviously we represent the New York Yacht Club, but at this juncture we're really focused on the competition, because the one way you take care of what you're suggesting is to win the regatta. But we got to do that first, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Just while I've got the mic, Ian, I was just wondering, the race management system, have you managed to sort of iron out those crinkles over the last couple of days with the practice racing? Are the team sort of satisfied with what the information flow coming from you?
Well, the information's always been coming for us. The question is whether it was getting to the competitors, and certainly I think, you know, they're here to answer, but I think the information flow and the communications and the adoption of the information into their system of the boat, you know, there's a collaboration here between the RMS people and obviously the technicians to do with the boats to get that interface and debugged. And so I think, you know, from what I saw, the little I heard, is a good sign that it was all working well. And certainly from my observation, you know, they knew when to start, they knew where the boundaries were, and the complaints box had nothing in it. So I think we had a good workout over the last couple of days.
Michael Burgess.
Oh, yeah. So, Ben, you look a lot more relaxed today than you did when we saw you in December. Does that reflect that you've actually accomplished a lot since then? And what were your main priorities over the last 3 weeks in terms of fixing what you thought, all the issues you said you had to fix?
Yeah, well, the team's been working flat out since the World Series, and I have to give them a huge amount of credit for that, the effort that they put in. You know, literally haven't had a day out. A lot of our shore team, our engineers, working flat out around the clock to put into action these changes, these upgrades to the boat. And as we talked about, predominantly focused on the lighter airs, but across the wind range where we felt we were struggling performance, and firstly identifying why that was and then trying to rectify that issue. So, like I said, I think we've got a long way down that road in terms of those improvements. There's still more to come as these other teams are improving every day. You know, pretty much every day people are coming up with new upgrades to their boats, and we're no different in that. So we're excited, in a way we're excited to see how much of a jump we've made. You know, we started right down here somewhere, we've got to get up there, and how far up that ladder we've come will be fascinating to see in the next few days.
Are you confident you will be competitive?
I think we can be competitive, certainly in the medium to stronger wind range. The lighter airs, we still don't know. We raced against Rossa in some medium to lighter airs the other day. We were somewhat closer than what we were. We're still making improvements every day. So we'll see. You know, like as time will tell over this next weekend.
One last question from the floor, sir.
David Long from Staff. Question for Terry. You mentioned before you're always looking for more speed, but at this stage, are you as I guess, happy as you possibly could be going into it? And also, Patrizio said before that he hopes, with what's going on around the world, that the focus is on the sport and people can enjoy it around the world. Do you endorse that comment as well?
Yeah, I mean, as a competitor, we have nothing but thanks and praise for Mr. Bertelli and PRADA for taking on organizing this regatta. I mean, what a monumental bum fight they've been handed, and the fact that they've continued and stayed true to the cause as best they possibly can through this world environment. I mean, all you can do is take your hat off to them and thank them. As a team, our development started the Monday after the World Series event and really has continued on through to yesterday. And as all three of us sit here, I mean, our measure starts tomorrow with our win and loss sheet, and I'm confident in the process that we've used to get to this point. As any good team or family, we've argued and debated all the way through it, and that's always healthy from a team perspective because you continue to push each other internally to get better. But time will tell if it's enough. I think Patriot's a great boat, and it's supported by a really good group of people, so all we can do is go out and start racing.
Questions from Zoom?
Yes, we have, Bruno. First question from Michele Tognozzi, Farevela.
A question for Max Sirena and Ben Ainslie. We have been following you in the last month, and we note every day a lot of new ideas and upgrades on your boat. Do you think we have already seen all the possibilities of this amazing AC75, or you guys think that you can push this machine more and more to a new territory?
I think we are just at the beginning. We just start. We raced a few weeks ago for the first time with this new class, so we are just a beginner with this boat. Every day when we're going out in the water is gold. We learn something new. There, as Ian was saying before, even the pre-start will improve more and more, and we will see a big fight in the pre-start box while we are getting forward in the PRADA Cup. So, and in development, I mean, this campaign, it can only one way. You can only develop through the PRADA Cup, and eventually the team will go through the final with the key. We'll keep going until then. you cannot think to stop to improve your boat today, because otherwise you're going to finish last.
So Ben, you want to answer the question also?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. We're just scratching the surface of the boats and the performance and how well the sailors can handle them. So this Challenger Series, I think, is going to be fascinating as the three teams develop their skills of sailing the boat, the performance of the boat, and then the defender was watching that, analysing that, and making their own improvements. So that's why we love the America's Cup, for that development.
Thank you. Couple more from Zoom.
Yes, we have Jack Griffin, again, Cup experience.
Yeah, hi. First, just a comment relative to that question that got posed to Terry about ideas for the next America's Cup. Just one observation, whenever I hear the word traditional, I think I translate it into what I like. So what I like, what's traditional, that's for anybody to decide. I have a question for Max. Every team's boat 2 seems a little bit closer to the design of Luna Rossa's boat 1, and your boat 2 seems, to the casual observer, the non-expert, to look a lot like your boat 1. Max, what areas do you think are the most important for development from now until the beginning of the match in March?
So who's going to answer first, Terry or me? Well, I think it's a good question, because it's a question I'm asking myself every day. Fortunately or unfortunately, our boat 1 was a pretty good boat. And I was keen to do the Cup against the other team with our boat 1 against their boat 1, to be honest. Unfortunately, there is boat 2. So, but our boat 2 in reality is quite different. It looks similar because obviously even the fact which is black, it looks similar, but there is a lot of differences between boat 1 and boat 2. And as I said, we're going to keep modifying and changing wherever we need. There is a development program on the plan to be happen. And for sure, we will look wherever is strong and wherever we think is good to adapt to our boat by watching the other team. I think when we start, I don't think people still focus on just on the boat. I think what is really make the difference is the total package. It's not just the hull, the wing. Everyone is talking about the wing or the sails. I mean, the reality with this boat, you got performance from every single piece of the boat. I think people still underestimate how important are the control system of this boat, or the foil, or the sails. Sails is huge. I mean, if you look the sails, the mainsail is probably the biggest surface you have in this boat. And people, I think, underestimate sometimes how important are the mainsail shape and the control system related to that. So it's a total package. I think the gain the team are making, I mean, if you look Ben didn't change from an optical point of view, almost nothing. So probably he did a lot of investment in how to control the boat with the thing, and they improve massively as expected. So I think when we're talking about the boat, we need to talk about the full package and not just about the hull shape.
Okay, thank you.
Next, please.
Next question is for Fabio Pozzo, La Stampa again.
Yes, thank you. So my question for each skippers, how much have you changed your boats or your total package since the first day of the World Series until now? Could you give me a percentage?
So Max, first you have the mic.
Yeah, well, we changed quite a lot. In reality, there is obviously it's harder to change a wing or a rudder or whatever, because there are companies which are taking a lot of time to build and to modify. But for sure, there is a lot of change happening, not just day by day, but even during the day, during the sailing day, you have every day in the water in terms of software, control system, and tuning. So if I had to put on the table both on the layout and the related system to a couple of weeks ago to the one we have today is completely different. But again, as I said, it will keep going for the next few months.
Terry, second.
Yeah, since the beginning of the World Series to now, you know, we've looked internally at where we think we were weak and tried to identify, you know, those weaknesses against the competitors and let our training dictate. So after the World Series, we got pretty heavily into just straight line boat speed development, and then from there worked on maneuvering development and how to best keep Patriot up and out of the water and really use those opportunities to, you know, sail the boat faster around the race course, because all of it is a contribution to boat speed. And then there were areas inside the boat and outside the boat that Marcelino and the designers wanted to improve, so we took that on over the Christmas break. But we also pushed pretty hard prior to the Christmas Cup to make sure that the boat was somewhat similar as it is today, so that we had the time to learn the boat, so we weren't going through major changes to the setup, and we could continue to use the sailing time and the racing time to improve the performance, because there's so much to gain in just racing the boat well, that if you're continually putting yourself under the pressure to change things under the water, then you lose the time on the water. So it's striking that balance.
So Ben?
Well, look, since the World Series, we've got a new rudder, a new elevator, a new mast, a new mainsail, new headsails. We've put aero modifications to the hull, and we've changed the systems to the hull. So we've been quite busy.
Same crew?
Yeah, it's improved, and it needed to.
Thank you. One last question, Odum.
We have a new question from France. Ludovic Sorlot, Cap Legend.
Yes. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bruno. Well, the PRADA Cup introduced a new rules with the certificate of boats before the race, when each team need to change, need to choose his rudder or foil. And I would like to know how is the game changing?
Who is willing to answer that question?
Thanks, Terry. Can you just...
So Sir Ben will answer.
What was the question, Bruno? I didn't quite pick it all up.
The question, you have to say it again, or I can say.
You say it,
He wants to know how those boats are very different from the others in terms of tactics and systems.
I mean, we're all learning the tactics of racing these boats, because the maneuvers are so critical. And Mr. Bertelli alluded to back to upwind starts in match racing with the boats going the speeds that they're going. So for all of the sailors on board, the reaction times are developing. We're getting better at handling the boats. So those strategies and tactics, I think, will just develop as we go through the competition. But as a sailor, I think we would all say it's been a fascinating challenge, whether you've been struggling or you've been going well. I think we've all found it a fascinating challenge to take on these boats.
Thank you very much. So tomorrow, first race will be New York Yacht Club American Magic against INEOS Team UK. Second race, INEOS Team UK against Luna, Rossa, PRADA, Pirelli. Thank you very much. Enjoy the PRADA Cup, one of the very rare events in this world. Thank you. Photo, please. Skipper's photo with the cup, no? You know the photo with the skipper? Yeah. It will stay here.